What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking in on today's video. What we got in store for you today is a plastic pouring video. We're out here in the garage and we are gonna make some plastic worms using my dual molds. I got two new molds that I wanna show you, and today we're gonna do a real basic color, green pumpkin, black flake. It's a great go-to color. Fish eat it everywhere. The color might look green pumpkin to some, might look watermelon to other people, but basically green pumpkin, black flake, watermelon, black flake, pretty much the same color, just different shades. But I got a color that I think you guys are gonna like that I came up with the other day. I was messing around, I didn't want to do a video just guessing. I wanted to come up with a decent color for everybody to watch, and I got one, and I think it's something that you guys could easily replicate if pouring plastics is something that you're into. So stay tuned, watch the full video, see what I come up with, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the molds that I'm using today. And as always in my videos, check out the description for all the links to the different products that I'm using in today's video. So here's the molds that we're going to be using today. This is the 6-inch Finesse crawler mold by Do It Molds, and this is the 4.5-inch Gusano mold. Both of these are great finesse worms. The top mold, as you can see, is a CNC mold, and then the bottom mold is the Essential Series 6-inch Finesse crawler mold. It is the cast aluminum, so the worms look a little bit different when they come out compared to each other, and we'll show you a little bit more about that when we get there. So as always, you want to start with a clean glass container, Pyrex, or I went cheap and got the Anchor Hocking Target one, and you need the Plastisol to measure out into that measuring cup. We're going to be using the Do It Soft Baits regular formula. Today I'm going to add some softener in to soften up these worms because I like them nice and soft. So let's get this Plastisol shaken up. You always got to shake it, you know, in the beginning every time you use, just like the label says. So we'll shake this thing up and then we'll measure out 4 ounces for today's video. Okay, so we got our Plastisol nice and shaken up. So what we're going to do now is measure out 4 ounces of Plastisol. I'm a little bit over, but that's okay. So we're going to do the 4 ounces of Plastisol today, and that's going to be what we base all of our measurements off of. How many drops of colorant, how much flake, all that kind of stuff. It all bases off this initial amount of Plastisol. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a ½ tablespoon of Plastisol softener, and we're going to pour that into our 4 ounces of Plastisol just to soften those worms up a little bit. So we got that in there, and then we're going to go to our next step, which is going to be 8 drops of watermelon brown colorant. So this is our Do It Molds Soft Baits Watermelon Brown X2 colorant. We're going to add about 8 drops of this colorant to our Plastisol, and then we're going to stir it on up. One thing I like to do before we get started with this colorant is shake it up a little bit. You don't got to go crazy with it, but for whatever reason, I just like to shake it up just to make sure it gets all mixed together nicely. And then that's probably good enough. It's been about 15 seconds or so. So we're going to pour in 8 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that should green up nicely. Let's take a look. We're gonna stir it up in here. Keep stirring, keep stirring. And you can kind of see a little bit of the darker little stringy lines almost inside there. Hopefully you can see that coming through on camera, but you want to keep stirring until that's gone away, because that means you haven't gotten your colorant mixed in all the way yet. But so far this is looking pretty good. This is the color that we're going for before we put it in the microwave and get that Plastisol to go clear, and then this green color is going to be a lot more vibrant then. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this black 0.015 hexagonal shaped black flake, and we're going to take about 1/8 of a teaspoon. The actual measuring cup, or whatever you want to call it, is 1/4 teaspoon, but I'm going to do about half of that. So just about like that. We're going to pour that in there, and we'll stir that in as well. I don't want a ton of black flake in here. but I think I want just a little bit more than that. So we'll just add just a tiny bit more. A little goes a long way with these smaller flakes. So we'll stir that in there. That should give us a little bit more. So that was basically like 3/4 of that measuring cup. I'm not sure exactly what that measurement would be, but if even you went that full 1/4 teaspoon, you'd still have a pretty good color worm in there. It's just darker. It'd just be a little bit darker with all that black flake in there is all, but you'd still have a good looking worm. And then for this video, we're gonna add some stabilizer into our plastic, just so that way we don't overheat it or anything like that. Normally I don't have any issues with that, but we're gonna just put a little bit in there for today's video. And then we're just gonna stir that on in. We just got a little bit of plastic in here, so we don't need a ton of stabilizer for today. That should be good. And then the next step is just put it into the microwave. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it in for a minute, and then we'll stir it up and we'll do it again. And when you're working with plastic and making your own plastics, you definitely got to wear some of these gloves. I just got these on the Do It Mold website when I bought some other stuff, because these things do get hot. The glass gets hot, the plastic gets hot, so you definitely want to wear some gloves. They got this rubber on the inside of them, helps you be able to handle all this glass and everything while it's super hot. Okay, so our plastic was in there for a little over a minute. We'll open it up and then we're gonna stir this up a little bit. It's definitely not ready yet. It hasn't really started to solidify or do anything, but we'll stir it up and we'll put it back in there for probably another minute, minute and a half, something like that. Okay, so our plastic should be close to ready to go. We'll stir it up right now. Okay, it's definitely a little bit more solid, but I think we definitely need to cook it just a little bit longer. But this is the color that we got right now. That's a really good looking color. This is gonna make some really good worms. That black flake's coming through nicely. But I think it needs to go in there a little bit longer. What we're gonna do is take the temperature right now though as well, because we definitely want this to get up to around 350 degrees before we start pouring. Otherwise, it's not going to work like we want it to. So we'll get our thermometer out and stick it on in and see what we end up at. Okay, so we're gonna get to just about 300. So we'll put this back in there a little bit longer. Okay, we got that right there. We'll put this back in. We'll do it for another minute and we will check it while it cooks to see what it looks like. Okay, so it was in there for about another 40 seconds. This is looking like what we want it to look like. We got our thermometer back out there and we are going to see where we're at. We're already over 200, 281, 92, 300, 324. Okay, yeah, we're definitely above where we need. So we're gonna stir this up again real quick, and then we'll actually be ready to shoot some plastic here in a minute. And this is what we're working with right now. That's gonna look good. It's gonna look good. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take some clamps and clamp our molds together, makes them nice and tight, and it also keeps them nice and close together, which makes it easier for us to pour with our injector. Okay, so we got our injector. We're gonna get some plastic out of here. Just gonna draw it up the injector. Okay, we got our plastic. Put it in here in our finesse worm. Okay, that felt like it was gonna be good. Then we're gonna go over to our Gusano mold and put it in there. That felt pretty good. Now we gotta top off our sprues. You always wanna do that. You always wanna top off the sprues. Okay, that should be good. Pour the excess back in here. All right, once these things get nice and cool, we'll check them out and see how they turned out. Okay, so the plastic's been in the mold probably long enough. So we're gonna take this clamp off just like so. And now we're gonna separate our molds. We'll open up our Gusano first. See how they turned out. Pretty tight. And those turned out pretty good. Nice and green. They kind of definitely have more of a watermelon color to them. I think I'd almost do even less color so they're a little bit more see-through, but that's a great looking color still. Let's see what the other ones look like. These are our Essential Series Finesse crawlers. These turned out really good as well. Hopefully I can get you guys a better idea of what these look like here in a second out in the sun, but that's what we got going so far. You can definitely tell there's a little bit of a difference in how shiny these turn out in the Essential Series, but these are still great quality worms that you can definitely catch fish on. Okay, so this is what we made today. These are our 4.5-inch El Gusanos, and then over here we got our 6-inch Finesse crawlers from the Essential Series dual mold. I think these turned out really good. These are a real solid go-to color. These are going to catch fish in a lot of different places. I'm going to show you guys here in a second how these things look outside in the sun so you can get a better idea of what the color actually looks like. So here we are out in the sun. Hopefully you're getting a good idea of what this looks like. It's a great green pumpkin color, a little bit of black flake in there. Great go-to color. This will definitely catch fish. But as you can see, that Finesse crawler from the Essential Series from the cast aluminum mold definitely has a little bit different appearance to it than the El Gusano CNC mold. Hopefully these shadows aren't getting in the way and you guys can really take it in, but that's a good color. Definitely would throw it, definitely would fish it myself. So I really hope this video shows you how easy it is to make a color just like that. Green pumpkin, black flake. You can't beat that color. Maybe you think it's a watermelon, maybe you think it's a green pumpkin, but no matter what you think that color is, it's a good one and it will catch fish, and it's a great go-to color for sure. Both these worms are great. I think these worms would be great on a drop shot. They'd be great on a Texas rig. You could wacky rig them, you could nail weight them, you can do a lot of different things with these worms. They're definitely worms that I'm gonna use myself. I'm gonna be fishing some of these myself. And if you guys want to get any of these worms from me, make sure to send me an email, mattlunafishing@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Hit me up, let me know. I might have some of these up on my website here pretty soon. I definitely don't want to be doing this all the time. I don't want to take into tackle sales of any of my other companies, but while I'm out here doing some of this stuff, if I have extras, I definitely want to offer them out to you guys. So keep that in mind. Obviously, if you're interested in any of the Do It Molds products, I'm going to link all the links to the Do It Molds products that I used in today's video to make these baits that I will go and catch fish on. I will link that in the description of this video. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope it was valuable. I hope you learned something. If you decide that you want to pour your own plastics, use this as a guide to get started to make a go-to color for yourself. Once again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more content like this and some other fishing videos as well. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more content coming your way.